Welcome to this week's Spinfoil Theory. We're about to take a dive into the lore of Destiny the game. Specifically, we'll be giving a high-level scrutiny to popular, emerging, and outlying theories, then judging them. With that out of the way, let's put on our Spinfoil hats and get a little crazy. Here comes this week's show. Recording
live from a studio near you.
From a studio in my basement.
That sounds kind of cringe. From a studio in the last city. There we go.
Okay, yeah. Broadcasting to you recorded.
Yeah.
From a studio in the last. I like it. Welcome to the Spinfoil Theory podcast, everyone. We are your hosts. This is LadyLucida, Taylor B, and LadyLucida. How are you doing this week, Lucy?
I'm doing pretty good. The weather this week is now nice and warm. My favorite, I say, with sarcasm, because I do not like hot weather. I'm glad Ohio has invested in air conditioning, unlike my home state of Washington. In Washington, air conditioning straight up doesn't exist. So, it makes...
Yeah, that still befuddles me.
Well, it's like it never gets hot in Washington, or at least where I'm from.
Yeah.
It never got hot enough to justify getting air conditioning. So a lot of places just like the only places that would have air conditioning would be like the movie theaters or malls. And maybe some businesses. Sense. But like everywhere else was just like, nah, there's no point, man. Like it doesn't get like 90s or 80s consistently. It would get like 70s, maybe twice, but most of the time it would be like 60s.
Oh, wow.
Like it's comfy there. That's why I'm like, I like Washington weather.
Okay. That does sound kind of nice. That sounds like you're like perpetually in this state of you can have like a nice jacket.
Pretty much.
And I'm sure like women appreciate this too, but as like a dude, I always like jackets because, you know, it's the one thing that you can add to your outfit outside of cargo pants where you have like
cargo pants. Oh my god.
Well, yeah. And I mean, unless I'm going to work or something, I don't want to carry around like a backpack.
Yeah, true.
I haven't had a good men's carry-all in satchel bag since I still have that bag. So I used to be, I don't know if you knew this, Lucy, I used to manage a stockroom at one of the flagship Coach stores a couple years there. Yeah. I'm not going to act like I know a whole lot about fashion, but I got a very nice bag from them. You know they produce all their own leather.
That's wild.
Yeah, like 100%. Like they're cows. They don't even mess around. So anyway, that's not what we came here to talk about today. It's not interesting though it may be. Today, everyone, we are here to investigate the Sunken Pyramid.
Ooh. Just ooh, spooky haunt. I don't say it's haunted. It's not really haunted. I mean, Rhulk just kind of talks to you the whole time. I do think that was crazy. Like, I remember the first time we did it. The first time we ever did that. I mean, I have the whole thing recorded safely on my computer forever and ever. But, basically the gist of it was, we did, we land, you kill Savathun, and then Rhulk just straight up is just like, welcome, children of light. And we're just like, whomst the heck is that mysterious voice speaking to us from beyond? Whomst is this? Rhulk? And then later we kick his butt. Like, Rhulk is, I think he's probably gonna be like he's iconic. I just think he's iconic. I love him.
Yeah, I really want someone to either draw or animate Rhulk, but I want him to just be like hanging out with his arms behind his back, bouncing a soccer ball on his knees.
Oh my god, that'd be funny.
Just doing like little footy exercises.
Yeah, he definitely seems to be doing those, because Jesus, that guy, he can kick you in the face and you can die if you are not properly prepared.
I think Rhulk probably studied space taekwondo.
They did actually, speaking, I don't know if have you seen the concept art for Rhulk?
No.
Oh, I'll have to send it to you. But basically his animation stuff was based on like fighting styles like that.
Oh, that's cool.
It's like
That's cool.
it's not, it's intentional, basically.
Oh, I dig it. Yeah, because he looks like, especially with some of those kicks. Gosh, I haven't done Taekwondo in years, but that was the first martial art like I studied like growing up. It pretty popular in this area of the country, and yeah, there was a lot of kicks, and I feel like half the stuff Rhulk does to you is like actually like a pretty nice like little sweep. Like he's
like,
kicking down because you're
legs.
all smaller than him, but he's just like,
Yeah.
like yeah.
He's like, whatcha, hiya, kicking you in the face, kicking you while you're down. But yeah,
boot to the head.
But while we do meme about Rhulk, in the lore though, Rhulk is scary, man. He's scary.
Ooh.
He's crazy. Absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. His whole story, and we'll link that in the show notes here, is Shattered Suns. If you guys haven't read it already, they did take away the way you could kind of cheese getting it all at once, but if you either go into the first part of the raid or you go into the preservation mission, you get the first 5 at the end of the preservation mission on these little like stone kiosk guys, and the rest of them you get by solving a little puzzle in that room where you learn all the names of the glyphs that you can potentially see. So it's like right before the first encounter of the raid or the last encounter on preservation.
Yep.
And so just in case you don't know how to get it, that's how you get it. It's a little sequence you got to do. But yeah, there's videos online. Plenty of people showing you how to do it. And it's a pretty wild tale. Labray, it seems to be, without them saying it directly and spelling it out for us, so heavily implied, it seems to be this place that the Traveler had visited.
Yeah, it seems like it. The Traveler visited, and then the Traveler left, but we're not sure if they didn't really seem like they had a collapse. I mean, they kinda did, but not...
Well, that would make sense, though, because the Traveler's not being followed by the Hive.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this was... Oh, that's right! Yeah, this takes place way before the Hive, because Rhulk ends up recruiting the worms, which then recruit the Hive. Totally forgot about the timeline of things. I was like, huh? Confusion? But no, that makes a lot more sense, actually, now that you say that. Yeah. So, the Traveler leaves because the Traveler knows that it can't stay. Because if it stays, the darkness will eventually find them. So they have to leave. They have to. They don't like...
And you kind of get this... so the whole story is told from the point of view of this conversation between Rhulk and the Witness. And it's Rhulk being shown things by the Witness.
Like, yeah, his Witness is making Rhulk, relive what happened.
Yeah. And so it's pretty wild. So the Travelers left, and this world that they're in, it's got 2 suns.
Yep.
And it's in this sort of situation where, because of its juxtaposition between the 2 suns, I think there's like this... It's like this moving sort of like tiny cross section of darkness that like moves across the planet, and basically it starts from this perspective of Rhulk and his father. I don't know if it's that they're clinging to like old ways, but for like one reason or another, I think mostly due to corruption, they reject the planet government that seems to be,
basically,
kind of based on light.
I can explain this part. This part's it's kind of hard to understand, but basically, there's the 2 sides of the planet. One side is like the gleaming capital, it's all fancy and pretty, but it's authoritarian and dictatorship, kind of bad. That's where like most of the people are. But then there's these outcasts, which is where Rhulk's family is, and they are more on the other side of the planet, which is more kind of in the wilderness, kind of living with nature, they don't really have a choice. And basically there's these people that are almost like the border patrol between the two places, and they make sure, the outsiders don't come in and people don't leave.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically Rhulk's father ends up kind of taken by the border police, I guess.
Yeah,
and
what were they called? Like it was like a stalkers
or something. I don't know. They had some like name. Basically, his father is taken by them, and then Rhulk goes to try and get his dad back, but at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And he ends up finding his dad was just pretending to follow the regime, I think is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
To try and take them down from the inside. But then Rhulk, over time, ends up becoming, like, indoctrinated by the regime. Like, he thinks they're right. And then, at some point, he's, like, in the between of the planet where, like, this, like, big crevasse is. And he ends up, either his family, like, banishes him there because they think he's gone too crazy with the regime and stuff. Or something. I know something happens to him and he ends up down, like really far and basically left for dead. And then he comes back very, very angry with a glaive. And, well, because that's the regime, that's their weapon of choice, is glaives. And he ends up going on a killing spree and just starts killing everyone. And then he eventually destroys the, there's like a thing that gives the city
planet.
power. It basically stabilizes the planet and stuff. He kind of blew it up, and then the whole planet went.
Yeah. So I just going over the notes now. I can correct some of my things. And that is 100% the breakdown there. It's they have a regular sun and an umbral sun.
Yeah, the dark sun. Yeah, they have like the anti-sun, which whenever that's out, like things get like
dark light. Shining
yeah, it's like
darkness.
the dark light, and like I guess the predators get like more aggressive. It's like you don't really want to be out when this umbral sun is in the sky. Like you want to be in your house sleeping.
Yeah. So we were corrected as stalkers.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So the stalkers go after like Lucy was saying, they go after his clan. This clan who's like rejected the ways, and I think part of their like punishment for rejection is they would do, for resources and whatnot. I think they were a little bit of a nuisance, especially since they wouldn't follow
the regime.
The traveler regime, I guess is the best way to put it, because they are like kind of like light and snooty.
Maybe I'm not sure. I don't know, because the way that I
don't actually know, but yeah.
I don't know, the way that I read about the regime, they seemed very evil, I guess. I don't know. But then again, this is from Rhulk's perspective. We don't exactly know. They could have been like, like the last season, like fine, like good people. But remember, the witness is also polarizing things to a point that makes Rhulk thinks. Basically, all of this was basically the witness trying to prove to Rhulk that he had to do what he had to do to get to where he is. There was no other way.
I can dig it.
Also, fun fact about the Shattered Suns lore book. If you look at the first letter of every lore entry in order, it spells appended.
Ooh.
Like that's the big super weapon.
Yeah.
Which is still great. It's great. And then, eventually, Rhulk is indoctrinated by the witness, becomes the first disciple, and then is sent around the universe to go basically teach others. Almost like I don't want to be mean, but like, those like the people that come to your door that are like the religious people? Have you heard about our Lord and Savior, the witness? That's basically Rhulk. He's basically one of those guys, but he doesn't exactly just knock on their door and is like, "Hi, I'm Rhulk." No, he just pulls out his glaive and his pyramid ships and just goes to town and kills them all and makes them go crazy. That's what he did with one of the species. He made them all go crazy, and there's only one guy left, and he's like, "Why? Why did you do this, man? You're crazy." And Rhulk just said, "I am Rhulk." That's it. That was his reasoning was, because I can. And it's just like, okay, you're unhinged. But it doesn't stop there. Rhulk is really crazy. He is also the reason why the Hive are working with the darkness. Kind of. Totally on purpose. Basically, what Rhulk did is Rhulk, the Witness, sent Rhulk to Fundament. This is way before the Hive. I'm not even sure if, I think the Hive were there, but they weren't. This is before the Books of Sorrow. Way before that. And Rhulk swims, mind you. Let me put an emphasis on that. Swims down to the Leviathan.
Mm-hmm.
Because, remember, in the Books of Sorrow, Savona, Arush, and Zevo, they had to take a spaceship designed to go down there. They couldn't, the pressure was too much. They couldn't, basically he just swims down. The Leviathan is like, hey, you shouldn't be here. You will drown in the deep. You can't keep going. And Rhulk literally rips a bone out, which you can see that bone, I'm pretty sure, on display in the Vow of the Disciple raid or the Preservation mission. In that final area, it's that big bone. You can't miss it. He literally rips the bone out of the Leviathan and is just like, no, I will rise. And then he keeps going. He keeps swimming, just keeps swimming. To meet the worm gods. And then he meets Zaita, mother of the worm gods. And, there's Akka, Ir, the rest of the worm gods. They're all there too. Whole family.
Mm-hmm.
And, Zaita is the nurturing worm. So she was kind of, keeping them alive. Because they were kind of trapped down there. For reasons we still don't know. Which, if the Traveler or the Leviathan is guarding, the Traveler put the Leviathan there. Or maybe the Leviathan, I'm not sure why the Leviathan is, well, not why, but we don't know, did the Traveler give it explicit orders to do this? Or is it, but we don't know. That's besides the point. But basically what I was trying to say is, if the worm gods were being guarded by something, they had to have done something to be put there in the first place. And I don't know what that is. We still don't know. But then, basically Rhulk said, hey, worm gods, my boss wants us to work together. You're gonna have some guests here, soon, TM. And, give them the spiel. Make them join us. This pyramid scheme, yada, 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 yada. And then, he's like, oh, hey, mother worm, here, hold this. And she holds the bone. And he's like, all right, bye. And then he just leaves with the mother worm. And the other worm gods are like, mommy? And they cry. This is a vast oversimplification of it. Read the Titan lore. Titan raid armor lore, if you're interested about that story. Of the worm, of Rhulk going into Fundament. It's good. It's good. I read it and I was like, damn.
It's a good one.
Rhulk, you crazy.
Yeah. And then, as what you were saying right before that.
He just literally just walks up there, just punches it, and just rips out a bone. He's like, alright, this is mine now. Bye. And then, oh yeah.
I just imagine he holds it behind his back. Just in that same position with his arms behind his back. It's just also this gigantic bone larger than he is.
Then the last part, as Rhulk was leaving with the mother worm, she dropped the worm larvae. They ended in the ocean. And one of the worm larvae floated to the shore of the Osium court, which is where Savona and the rest of the Osium siblings are, and well, the rest is history. Basically, it's all Rhulk's fault. Everything is Rhulk's fault. Literally. If Rhulk hadn't, I'm not saying literally everything, but if Rhulk hadn't persuaded, with air quotes, the hive worms, the worm gods, to join the darkness, then the hive, the story would be completely different, because then the Traveler would have blessed the hive with light, and then, the Traveler would have blessed the hive with light, and then the Traveler would have blessed the hive with light, and then the Traveler would have blessed the hive with light, and then the Traveler would have blessed the hive with light, and then the Traveler would have blessed the hive with light, and then the Traveler would have blessed the hive with light, and then the Traveler would have blessed the hive with light, and then the Traveler would have blessed the hive with light, and then the Traveler would have blessed the hive with light, and then the Traveler would have blessed the hive with light, and then the Traveler would have blessed the hive with light, and then the Traveler would have blessed the hive with light, and then the Traveler would have blessed the hive with light, and then the Traveler would have blessed the hive with light, and then the Traveler would have blessed the hive with light, and then the Traveler would have blessed the hive with light, and then the Traveler would have blessed the hive with light, and then the Traveler would have blessed the hive with light, and then the what if the witness got to us and blessed us with evil darkness powers? Then we'd be the bad guys. That would be crazy, though. Who knows?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's because even the earliest interactions of humanity with the darkness, they all kind of end at the Golden Age. Like, there's nothing really before the Traveler was here.
Yeah, all of the stuff with the darkness would be during the Golden Age, like with the K1 artifacts. That's during the Golden Age. What Clovis is doing is near the end of the Golden Age, or during it. We're not exactly sure of the timeline there. Rasputin being born, or born, I say with air quotes. That's not really darkness, that's more just a thing. I just think of things that happened during the Golden Age.
Yeah. It's a... So one thing that really strikes me about, as we talked about last week, the common threads between, Rhulk's stories and all these other people who are either candidates for disciple status. And Rhulk in Shattered Suns, what's so interesting about it is he literally, like, he's finally empowered when he hits, like, a literal rock bottom.
Literally, yeah. Falling all the way down, and is like literally at the lowest of his low. Like, his family doesn't want him anymore. The regime doesn't want him anymore because he's too bloodthirsty and like crazy. Like, think Anakin Skywalker episode 2 in the Tusken Raider camp, just killing everybody. Like, that's basically Rhulk 24/7. He does not care. He just, not just the men, not just the women,
not just the men,
but the women and the children too. Yeah, like Rhulk was kind of unhinged, and it's this almost very similar. Like, this is gonna kind of sound funny, but once I've like read all of Rhulk's story, you know who I immediately thought of in comparison? Eren Yeager from Attack on Titan.
Who's that?
That kid is fucking unhinged crazy.
Ooh. So what you're saying is Rhulk hates the light, was just destroyed by the light, and following the Attack on Titan and many other anime progression there, he's going to become the light.
For example, Eren Yeager has kinda, I guess, has always been this absolutely unhinged, psychopathic, crazy kid. Like, the entire time, he's just been crazy. I just was kind of, about that kind of regard. Because when Rhulk was younger, one of his siblings or someone in his clan had a small pet, and he literally skinned it alive. Because he could. Because he enjoyed it. Like, that's not normal. More, mentally stable people don't skin animals alive and watch their, younger siblings or whatever's reactions and think it's funny. Like, that's depraved. That's beyond reason. And that just made me kind of a similar parallel to, Eren was kind of bloodthirsty as a kid too. That's just the only thing that I was thinking. There's a lot of similarities. I'm not saying, because Rhulk hates the light so much, he's gonna end up becoming a guard. No, that's not at all what I'm saying. I'm just saying there's interesting parallels about their overall nature and how they think. There's some similarities.
I can dig it. Okay.
I know you were joking, but there are some people who haven't seen Attack on Titan and they're like, huh? Or they don't really get the full story.
Okay.
But basically, yeah.
I like it. I'm really wondering what Rhulk was doing between recruiting, I guess, the worm gods.
Yeah, pretty much strong arm.
Really kind of strong arming them.
You will join. You do not have a choice.
Yeah.
I'm taking your mom with me. I'm taking
your mama.
Pretty much.
This is mine's now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go upend some shit. Which that's kind of a sad fate for her. I don't know that she did it. I mean, I guess the worm gods weren't perfect by any means. Probably even before they met Rhulk, but we don't know anything
Yeah.
that Zeta actually ever did. That was all we know is that she was
Pretty much,
collected
she
and
was the
turned
gun's
into a
power
gun's
source,
power
and
source.
she also like made the baby worms. So now, like,
It's true.
that's creepy.
That's true.
I feel so bad for her.
So-
The worms, I know they are evil, but I still can feel sympathy for them because, like, they got strong-armed into the situation. They didn't really have a choice.
You finally have your
Exactly.
reason.
I mean,
to-
if I had to
to
pick
want
between
worm
having
friends.
worms, the worm gods as friends, and the hive as friends, I'd still pick the hive, 100%. I'm still crossing my fingers that we eventually get Lucent Brood in the tower alongside. Like right now, we have the Elixir in the tower and the Cabal. At least the Cabal ship. Like, it's a start. Eventually, we might see. I think that'd be cool. Seeing there's the one ship we have in the hang. That's all I'm saying. But like, and I mean, like it's stepping stones. Like, you know, we have the ship, and we've seen the Cabal allies in Battleground. So maybe, as a natural progression, we'll see them elsewhere. I think that'd be cool. Cabal just drop pod in Iron Banner. That's the Iron Banner rework. You go on a hunt and it drops a Cabal.
Oh man, that would
Oh my
be,
God.
that would
That'd
be
be
such a
funny.
fun finisher. If you you go in for the
Oh my
finisher,
God,
you push
that'd
him
be
back,
funny.
and then a
That'd
drop
be
pod just
funny.
lands
I'd
on
love
him.
it. But
I would like it. I would like it a lot.
spot
Especially if
effects,
you use
yes,
the drop
all
pod,
drop pods. I am the
arrival.
Cabal. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, like basically what I'm saying is I think it'd be cool because I personally I think like. I mean, obviously the final shape is the end of the Light versus Dark saga. It's basically the Infinity War end game, like the end of everything. We're gonna need everybody. Everybody. We're gonna need everyone. Like we have to put aside all of our differences. It doesn't matter that Savathun may have tried to steal the Traveler. That doesn't matter anymore. What matters is stopping the Witness. Because if he doesn't, we're all gonna flip and die. We're all gonna die.
Well, and it's true, and it's not like, it's going to be hard to. I'm not going to say it would be easy because we know Savathun's influence is literally in all of her.
Yeah,
All
for
of
sure,
her
for
brood.
sure. Yeah, we
All of
definitely
the
know
Lucent brood.
from Psyops.
We know from Psyops.
that she has some sort of
And so, yeah.
influence.
But that doesn't.
But, as we saw in Lucent Tales, not all of the Hive are just mindless drones. Some of them are, like, questioning. They're being curious. They're like, why do I have to crush this human ghost? Why do I have to do it? Don't just say, do it. Kill him now. Like Palpatine. Yeah, that's what I was going for, Palpatine. but it's like some of the Guardians, they're not, like, it's not all everyone's accepting it. Some of the Hive are even like, no, I don't want this. Like, there's this one ghost who's like, I want to res my Hive guy, my chosen Guardian. And they res them, and their acolyte that they res ends up pulling their little shredder, and they end up immediately killing themselves. They don't want to be alive. They're like, I'm done. I'm tired. Let me sleep. I don't want to be alive. I've fought enough wars. Like, or
I've
maybe
fought
they
enough
see it as
wars.
such heresy that, because necromancy is seen as, like, the most heretical thing a Hive could do, and that's basically what this is. Technically. I'm saying with, like, a lot of...
Yeah.
Not really.
We are a little zombie.
I mean, we're basically being brought back to life, but we still have to eat and sleep. Yeah, like,
Well, yeah,
like
we
we're
don't have to,
basically
but we'll
brought back, and we're still like, it's not like we're being brought back to life like a zombie. It's more like we're being resurrected. Mm-hmm. It's not like a reanimating of a dead corpse. It's more like a what?
Wait.
Yes, we have.
We have ghosts. What if a guardian went into the exo machine? Say we had clarity, just like for sake of argument. You die. You make a perfect copy of you. That's now an exo. Then your ghost reses you. Now you
I
have
don't
two
know.
of you.
I didn't. My brain has exploded. I do not know anymore what is happening. I mean, yeah, maybe, but like, I don't know.
Right?
I just think that'd be cool. But speaking of the hot lucid brood and sort of Savathun, that's kind of why the pyramid was there in the first place, because the witness kind of trying to segue back to Rhulk and stuff. The witness was basically said, "Hey, Rhulk, your performance these past few, I don't know, millennium. I don't know how much time has passed, but basically, Rhulk, you've been doing subpar lately. You are on babysitting duty now. Go babysit Savathun. Basically, be her manager. Make sure she gets trained how to become a disciple. I'll check back in a couple of years. Bye."
And I'm out. Bye.
Pretty much. Like, Rhulk was basically put in timeout to babysit Savathun. Make sure she didn't mess up anything, but she clearly pulled one over Rhulk, which probably didn't make the witness too happy. I mean, if I was the witness, and one of my candidates decided to give me the whole, "Screw you, I'm joining the light," I'd be a little annoyed. I'd be like, "Fine, I'll just get a better replacement then." And just be really angry.
Yeah, and it seems to be while he's in her throne world, he seems to be growing diminished. Like, I don't think he needs to like eat or anything like that, but I think whatever
it's almost like I don't want to say
trap
stasis, but it's like a sort of, like, it's not, that's what the wellspring was, basically. Basically, and you actually get sort of a confirmation of what the wellspring actually is in the now updated lore tab for the ship you get from doing wellspring. I think it's on Master, I believe, is how you get the exotic ship. The Star Jasmine. Yeah, that basically kind of...
Yeah.
I believe so.
Is that how
I think it might be all of the different
I don't know
bosses.
if you have to do it on Master. I think it's...
It's something where you do stuff in Wellspring and you event... Or no, it might be getting all of the weapons. I don't know. It's a triumph. You do Wellspring. It's in the game. Read the lore tab on it, and that kind of explains something. Do I really know what's going on in that lore tab? I'm gonna be honest. No. Not really. Only kind of. Because people explained it to me because I'm dumb. Okay, not dumb, but just like... I was a little confused. But yes, basically, at least from playing Wellspring a bunch, you get the sense that if there is too much light in the Wellspring, this is the days when we do we attack the Wellspring. We have to, because if there's too much light in the Wellspring, the hive become empowered by this light. But if it's too little light is in the Wellspring, the pyramid will activate / open, and that's bad. So we have to, that's why it alternates between attack, defend, attack, defend, attack, because we're trying to keep this equilibrium between light and dark, which is fascinating. Very fascinating. Some symmetry or some balance. Maybe that's the whole point of Destiny, is not about light or dark, it's about symmetry. We're basically becoming gray Jedi. Oh my god, you don't understand. That makes me so mad. I want to make a shirt that just says
just
Ulan
rolling
Tan
in his grave, like, so pissed.
That can be a shirt.
Oh yeah, that can be part of our show shirts. Ulan Tan was right.
But yeah.
In the basic Frodo Lives font.
I feel like that's just how it excuse me, just how it just makes sense, because that's what a lot of Destiny is about. It's not that darkness is bad or light is good. It's all about what the user does with the tools. That light and dark are tools. We've known this since Prophecy. We've had it hammered in our heads again and again and again and again and again. The light and the darkness are tools. The Traveler and the Witness those have agendas. But the actual fundamental forces of light and dark are just tools that we, guardians or light bearers, can use. It's how the user uses them, what they use them for. That's what defines you. Like, warlords and the Lucent Brood, they've used light for evil, I would say. But you can still use darkness for good. That's just what I'm saying. I'm just, a lot of people, a lot of people are like, oh no, stasis is evil, stasis is darkness, darkness bad, light good. It's not so clear cut, guys. It's not. It's like, it's gray. It's all muddled in gray now. That's what Beyond Light and Witch Queen are trying to tell us. Is that it's not just black versus, like, darkness versus light, black versus white. It's not. It's all gray. It's all gray. It's not no clear cut anymore. We used to think it was. But now, as we learn more, it's not. It's not so clear cut. Which is exciting.
I really like that they seem to keep approaching the subject in the same way too. They keep saying, like, even back in D1 when we got lore about the Dark Age, where you had warlords, empowered by light running amok, and then when you fast forward all the way to Europa in Beyond Light, where, at first we need the crux. And then eventually the crux breaks, probably because that was supposed to be our taste. That was probably supposed to like get us to come in like, hey, what about more of that darkness? But then we don't need it anymore. Because it turned out that the real darkness was inside us all along.
You are absolutely right. Everybody's got a little bit of darkness in them. And as the speaker says, the light is in all things too. So
this gets, it gets pretty interesting. And I think actually, the Hive kind of proved that too. You'd expect them to be like filled with darkness or like maybe the only lights in their stomachs. But like even they, like, they had something for the traveler to work with. They're like, oh no, I got you. Yeah, I got you. The ghost was able. Amaru was like, oh yeah, no, this is simple. I can't believe I didn't see it before. So that's pretty interesting. So we're at where I would say right around, I want to say Rhulk gets trapped around or right after, back when Savathun was collecting void light.
Yeah, she definitely traps Rhulk at some point. She definitely has to have a lot of light to do it. And that wouldn't make sense, like, she's collecting this void light, she's collecting, harvesting all these guardians. And at first we're just like, oh, why? Why do all of this? But now we maybe know.
So that's that part of the story seems to be pretty interesting. And then pull back to Rhulk is now trapped. He's trapped in the he's sort of like, his ship is sinking in the swamp. And I love the metaphor of the swamp being this like balance of light and dark, because you think of a swamp or a bog, at least in like literature or something like that, it's usually like in the concept of death. Like, you're going to get stuck in the bog and die, or like the bog will swallow you up, like that type of thing. Like it's generally depicted, at least in my experience, as like this hostile environment that, it's muggy, there's bugs, it sucks. But real talk, bog swamps are like teeming with life. Like wetland, like that. There's all kinds of like creatures in the water. Like the plants are growing in such close proximity and thriving due to the conditions there. So in a lot of ways, like, while there are systems and like, animals do like get caught in the bog and like they do die, like things flourish because of it. Like there's this real like between depictions and the reality, there's this like balance there. And so it's really interesting that that the ship is like stuck in this bog. He's cut off from the witness, and he's just like starts to wither. And it's you can kind of hear it in his voice, but it's really interesting. So what does Rhulk decide to do? I would say, well, actually, before we get into that, one thing we should cover is what Rhulk had been doing before he was captured there. Because basically 2 seasons ago, we had Callus deliver the witness the scorn. I think a lot, there's a lot of debate, but I've kind of settled on, I think that's what he did. I think he gifted them the scorn. As like look at this thing I brought you. They can't die. They'll keep coming back. We can keep summoning them. They're completely under your control. And, even if they keep dying, they just become these explodey boys. I'm sure he said it much more opulent than that. But he had been, you see all throughout the ship as you go through it, he's been experimenting with the scorn since they came into the picture. In a lot of these rooms, you see I guess sort of like vivisected is the best way to put it. Giant worms of various sizes, and then you see what end up as you keep going through, you discover are these scorn in different positions in stasis, and something seems off. As you keep going, and then you finally meet the caretaker, it starts to make sense, especially once you get into the caretaker's lore. He's been trying to put a worm in the scorn, and the caretaker was the first successful one. So Rhulk likes his experiments. What really is interesting about this is I can't really glean why. Why is he trying to put... I think it's just to see if he can. So, Lucy, tell me what you think.
Well, he thought of the hive... Well, since now the lucid hive are a thing, he kind of views most of the hive, except for Ziva Rat's hive, as... He views them as kind of failures. He's always kind of viewed the hive as lesser than him. So he was looking at the scorn and seeing if the scorn could be a replacement. And he did actually succeed once. That is what the caretaker is. The caretaker is a scorn
with the caretaker
hive worm experiment. That's pretty much it.
It's a
Looks
scorn with a
creepy as hell.
hybrid,
Do you not like fighting? I guess he's not that bad to fight on normal mode, but Master, whoo! He's no joke. Master is rough. I personally haven't run it, but my friend Eric has, and he said DPS is tight. Especially because you have to do challenge too.
I believe it.
And challenges one person picks up a symbol. Or you can only pick up one symbol at a time. So basically the people that are stunning, they have to be very good at it, and there's now going to be overload champions, and just screaming, lots of screaming, but that's besides. But yeah, no, definitely. You can see as you walk through the area, especially in the first encounter, you can see these almost like cryo tubes of these like.
Yeah, it was.
They almost have like worm heads.
Of the failed experiments.
They look like scorn, but they have worm heads. So it's like it's so creepy. Mm-hmm. It's like maybe they didn't do it right. He's like, you will eat the worm.
Trying to shove the worms down.
And the sort of like, no, I don't want it. Wait. And then they go
get this in there, and then it dies.
But yeah, no. And then we also, my assumption is they were supposed to get a color palette update when Witch Queen came out. But they, forgot. I wouldn't say forgot, but, it didn't do it correctly, is my guess. Because, as you've seen, when Master Vow came out, the Scorn were rocking some new drip. all black and purple and edgy looking. They definitely are in full control of, or being controlled by the witness, that's for sure. So they are.
Yeah, so it seems pretty interesting, and we also know at the end of the Shattered Suns lore book that he was also trying to experiment on
it was
ghosts.
that, and it's the ghost shell for the raid ghost.
The Shattered Suns.
Yeah. When you get the end of it is when then you get the ghost. Yes. Sorry, but if you want to read that lore specifically, it is the raid ghost shell. Forget the name, but it looks like it has giant eyelashes. That's why I think it's funny.
Yeah, but I
think it's the something Imperatus, something with an I or an E. I have it on my hunter. Squint. Yeah, it's the Imperious Sun shell. Pretty crazy. I think that lore entry is pretty crazy because he straight up like takes the ghost apart. It has almost this like the little tiny piece of light. And he's like, oh, interesting. And then the traveler straight up speaks to him and says no, and just makes the ghost explode.
Yeah, it's pretty. I'm pulling up the lore now. He like starts by like talking to the ghost.
Yeah, at first he's just chit-chatting with it, and then he's like, wait, I can use you.
I am just ooh. I wonder what he would have done, but it's really interesting because it does seem his goal is to give himself a ghost.
Interesting. Yeah, definitely.
Which is also kind of like ooh. Yeah, because he's offering himself to the ghost. This ghost didn't have a this is one of the ghosts that ended up, with Savathun but didn't have a partner yet.
Pretty much.
And he was just trying to be like, yeah, you're not going to find anyone better than me. Check it. So that's another interesting one, because that probably would have helped him break free too if he was able to do it. But like you said, the traveler kind of like jumps in and like starts shouting, "This one is not for you, like, and like explodes it with a light. So with all that in mind, when we reach Rhulk, we learn that he, as we kind of touched upon earlier, he's become emaciated. He's doing this last-ditch attempt. I think he's going to upend the throne world in hopes that he can escape. But if he upends the throne world, I think he also ends up
a lot of stuff would have blown up. Because Savathun, think about it, Savathun's throne world is now seeping out into reality, and if Rhulk pushes the big red button to activate the appended, would that also not seep into our reality?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where, because it's kind of like as to say on Focus Fire Chat, the upside down that you might have seen. I think if one then the other, I don't think they can exist on their own. Like, I don't think you could go to some place that was destroyed in our plane, snap your fingers, you're in the Ascendant plane now. I don't think there's going to be like what used to be there.
Yeah.
So that is another. So like, if one then the other. So if they blow up the throne world there, it blows up the throne world on Mars, which I guess that's a big explosion. Because that's why we get sent in. So this whole thing boils down to when Savathun finally makes her move and gets resurrected, she like floods her throne world with light and the Lucent Hive. Starts spreading it all over, and they also start harvesting it.
Yeah, from Guardians, that's the whole point of PsyOps. Too.
It cuts off Rhulk from the darkness. His pyramid ship begins to be swallowed by the bog, by the swamp, and he starts to, in a way, he always keeps this face up that he's, not really afraid of death. He's more afraid of like he would give his life if it meant serving the his witness greater. I think like he knew what would happen if he used the upending. And I think he knew that that would be bad for the witness's plans as well. But he's, all of his rhetoric aside, I think at this point he's becoming desperate because he doesn't know. Like you learned from some of his recordings and dialogue in the raid itself that he's becoming weaker. He doesn't know what to do.
Yeah,
he
for sure.
needs to get back to the witness. Like it's like he's really compelled to get out of there. Yeah, like real compelled. And so. Yeah, I don't. It's really interesting. I think this is another one of those situations, kind of like when we fight the Hive Gods the first time. We don't fight them at their strongest, but unlike those other times, this guy's not at his strongest because of something one of our enemies did.
Yeah.
Like the only reason Rhulk is so weak is because of Savathun. Like we didn't do shit. And I think that's definitely one of those things we probably wouldn't have been able to win.
Like Oryx at his full power versus, we would have definitely lost. Or, oh yeah, like that's what a lot of people forget is that we're fighting these hive guys, these hive gods when they're like famished, weak.
Yeah, starving. In the hive god case, is about to be consumed by their worm. In Rhulk's case, it's really interesting. So I was reading that entry you were telling me about the other day, where it kind of talks about the aftermath about the hunter who kind of like crashes Marco as they're coming back. Yeah, poor Marco. Well, maybe he survived. Maybe his guys got away. But so it seems like those kind of have like their own thing going on. Like they are looking for something to consume, kind of similar to the worm, funnily enough. But it doesn't seem to be quite the same thing. It kind of felt like
definitely.
The way Rhulk explodes is he was just like actually made of this stuff. It's like I don't know what to do. So that's I want to see what goes with that, because if we're taking this stuff back and it seems to be powerful, and we're taking it back to the tower, or we're taking it back to like study it. I want to see. If any of that made it back, I want to see where that goes. So, with all that in mind, I would say this investigation, in a lot of ways, I mean, it's
for sure.
In a way, it kind of comes off like this was all part of Savathun's plan. Yeah, in a lot of ways, I think this comes off as, maybe her goal, like to take the Traveler and all that other stuff, a contingent of her plan, of her goal, I guess is a better way to say it.
Oh yeah.
Because otherwise it's the most perfectly executed plan ever. Like conspiracy level, perfect execution. So for me, I think, if she had succeeded in taking the Traveler away from us to protect it, like whatever, to take it into her throne world, I think it doesn't matter, because Rhulk's just gonna die. Rhulk's gonna become like just starve. It doesn't really matter what she does at that point. But if not, once we learn like, oh shit, he's going to destroy everything, we're getting like this large energy reading, then we go in and kill him, and her ghost is fine, so she's probably like, if and when she's resurrected or wherever she might be, if she hit her death instead. Yeah, it probably just laughing it up. Like even when she loses, she wins. Okay, yeah. So the whole situation's pretty fun. I kind of like these situations where this almost feels more episodic. It feels like the main Witch Queen campaign was this thing that like that was our real like story. That was like our thing that we'd been building up the last year, and finally like execute and get to get some revenge, get some closure to that whole situation with Savathun. And then it's just kind of like, oh yeah, by the way, there's also this dude Rhulk. Like, what? Never even heard of this guy. Who is this guy? Is that a worm god? What is going on here? And it feels almost like chance from our perspective that we get to meet this like high up person in the Witness, the capital D Darkness's faction. And yeah, I really like that because it gives this natural progression. One thing I really liked about D1, and I know a lot of people didn't like this about D1, but one thing I really liked is it kind of felt like as you went through, especially those first expansions, so like from the base storyline into Dark Below into what have you, it really becomes interesting. I feel like that like for me it just felt like, you know, not like villain of the week, but it was just like the more you learn about the world, the more you kind of realize, wow, everyone wants to kick our ass. Like it seemed like everyone wanted to kick our ass, but like people are coming from outside of the solar system just to get a crack at us. Like shit. So that's something that always stuck with me. But this kind of had that feel to it again. Like you just happened into something that ended up expanding your view of the world, even if it wasn't new to other characters. Okay. Well, I think that's where I am. Lucy, do you wanna move into final thoughts?
Sure. Overall, I think Rhulk ultimately failed with his plan. You know, he was like, you know, the top dog to the Witness. Was probably one of the first beings, I guess, that the Witness talked to, I guess. Subjugated. And, had been like his pawn. And, I'm curious to see when we meet the Witness again, if the Witness will be, I guess, angry with us that we killed Rhulk. You know, one of his good chess pieces, you know, his favorite one. This is my favorite chess piece. I kiss it. Mwah, it's my favorite, you know. Mm-hmm. Or is he gonna be more like, oh, he was weak because he died to you, sort of thing. Like, I'm very curious to see how the Witness will react to us killing Rhulk. Because if Rhulk was important to the Witness should, you know, act appropriately, you know, be like, yo, that was my friend. My number one. And you killed him. Now I'm coming for you. I'm gonna kick your pretty much. But yeah, no, I'm just like, and I'm curious to see if we'll get any more development on the Scorn because of, like, we know they're now, because of the Crown of Sorrow, and Callus literally delivering the Scorn to the Witness, Darkness, on a silver platter and being like, here you go, have a undead army. And the Darkness is like, yo, this is the shit, man. This is great. High five, dude. I don't know. We don't know what happened. That's just me theorizing. Mm-hmm. I mean, like I've said many times, Oryx communed with the Darkness and came back with the ability to take. Callus has communed with the Darkness, has yet to return. So I'm just like, oh god, is he gonna come back with the power to take? Or we can have another Taken King situation, but it's Callus. All of the Taken are now gold. It's gold and Taken. It's gonna be. Oh god, no, yes, please.
So much more opulent. Their eyes glow purple.
But yeah, no. Yeah, definitely. I can definitely see that.
Yeah,
but
he's gonna have the most opulent Taken.
I'm curious to see how the Scorn will develop now that the Rhulk is gone. Allegedly. Well, because the only reason why I say allegedly is that viney stuff, it's technically healing. Technically, because that's what happened, because the guy on the Sparrow lore, Marco. I almost thought it was Marcus Brand. I was like, oh no, Marco.
Yeah, Marco. Yeah.
My boy. No, Marco.
Yeah,
when
I
they
did
crashed
too when I first read it.
I think they injured their leg. That's what happened. And then they knocked the container over, and the container went to his leg and healed it, but it just went overdrive and killed him. It was gonna kill him. It was too much. So he shot his sparrow and blew it up. Hopefully. But no, like that stuff seems dangerous. I think that might give like a canon reason as to like repeatability of the raid. Because, if we don't keep doing the raid, Rhulk is just gonna push the button. But I'm surprised he hasn't done a different tactic if that is canon. But I think repeating of the...
I think canonically we did, because if you go into the preservation mission, the upending is the upender. I'm not sure. I guess it's just the upender.
I guess that's true. I don't know. I feel like Rhulk definitely could come back because he has that stuff is described, at least in the lore tab, as like a healing thing. Maybe it takes a really long time. Maybe it's like we know how Aramis is frozen right now. Maybe Rhulk is just going to be in a statue for a really long time. And then eventually pop out and be like, all right, I took my little nappy nap. What happened? Oh my God. And everything's on fire. That would be funny. That'd be funny,
Oh man. Yeah, that would be interesting. I would be really... No, I would like
to learn more. But no, definitely. Like I said,
I would like to know more. Click.
I mean, I think Rhulk as a character is very interesting. And we only got a little tiny bit, and I'm like, but I want more. I want more of this Dio Chad man. He literally is Dio. That's
true. Well, see, the one thing, as any JoJo fan will tell you, sometimes your favorite enemy stand user only shows up for one episode.
Yeah, you might be right there.
I think we got a chance though, because if the stuff is becoming stronger and it seems like we're taking it out of the throne world, I don't know if in that car he's actually that lore card he's actually out of the throne world yet. I think he's like on Mars. So if the only thing really holding Rhulk back was that he was trapped, and we're taking his pieces out of where he was trapped, I think it stands to reason, him or something would start to come back eventually.
For sure.
I think that's completely reasonable.
Yes, final thoughts.
For me, final thoughts on the investigation into the Sunken Pyramid. It seems to be there for, I guess, just Savathun kind of like tying up loose ends, like Rhulk especially. I think for her, them having worked a little more together than I would say the other Hive siblings, at least at the time, have in the past, or at least first, or I'm not sure how to put it. I like it because this is the culmination of a pair of adversaries under the Witness, namely Savathun, and her conflict with Rhulk as she tries to break free of her worm contract.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even coming into this expansion. You don't even know that's a thing. You don't even know, and it's like coming in and seeing the fight, and then through our own investigations, we learn about the history behind that, how he ended up there, why we had to kill him, and just the importance of, honestly, like, our enemy did us a favor. Savathun did us a favor by helping us kill Rhulk, ultimately. And so it really seems to be those are the reasons why anything is happening on the pyramid. That sunken pyramid is a reaction to betrayal. Yeah. And we come in to clean it up. We come in to put final blow. I think that's the best way to look at why the pyramid's there. About the experiments, like kind of to your point, Lucy. I think in those experiments that ended with the caretaker, I think you were precisely right. I think what he was trying to do was trying to say that the best thing about the hive are the worms.
Pretty much.
Look at this other guy I gave a worm. He's better than you. See? If you don't need the worm, if you can't do it without the worm, then maybe you don't deserve it. He totally was trying to evil Iron Man them. But yeah, I think my biggest takeaway from this is there is no direct plan or action from someone like Savathun or perhaps maybe we should get used to this as we climb the darkness ladder as we move toward the final shape. I think yeah, she just has a web of contingencies that work in her favor, sort of loosely probably toward her ultimate goal of being free at this point. Yeah, Rhulk, all intents and purposes, it really just seems like Rhulk was just like, if he had been literally anywhere else, if he hadn't been sent to keep an eye on Savathun, and make sure
it's kind of crazy.
She
If
stays
Rhulk
in line,
actually did his job, it wouldn't be here.
We wouldn't have killed him.
Damn it, Rhulk.
Yeah. So it's dang it, Rhulk. Because
Oh no.
swear to God, that disciple ain't right. And it's really interesting too to see those pieces of Rhulk's remains, and then now that we've also seen the witness as well. I think I think we talked about this maybe last week or the week before, but per our conversations then, it really does seem interesting that all the way back at D1 this amorphous thing of darkness is inhabiting these machines, and that's the first boss we ever really fight, and that first boss was the Black Heart in the garden. And now we're seeing here, as we approach the end of the Light and Dark saga, we're seeing, oh yeah, no, that's an important thing. That's the Black Heart. So I think it'd be funny in a little way, like poetic, like that boss didn't make any sense, but the first boss in Destiny was actually who the last boss in the Light and Dark saga is going to be, in oh so many ways. So yeah, full circle. I think this is a great progression to open our eyes to the machinations and the inner workings of the witness, because this entire time we didn't really have a face, we didn't really have a motivation beyond like we didn't have any of that stuff beyond speculation or like sort of like indirect hints. So this is really exciting. This is really cool stuff. I don't know that there's anything further that's going to happen with that pyramid right now. I hope we go back there in some way, kind of like we did with the Dreadnought, and beyond preservation. I hope there's like some investigations and other stuff that we get to take care of. But yeah, I think this was I think that's what this boils down to. What was going on in the pyramid was struggle, trying to break free. And we came in and we found Rhulk, and we were just like, "Oh, you're in this trap. Stab. I'm just gonna
definitely."
Oh man, this was a fun one, and I think next week we're gonna go into psyops, you guys. But this is a great progression because that leads into the further investigations as we continue closing out this season and this expansion. For folks here. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. Good shit. Oh, Lucy, you got any shout outs?
Any shout outs? I don't know. I'm bad with shout outs. You know this. I'm always bad. You go first. I'll try and think of something.
Okay. I got a couple this week actually. I want to give a shout out to new fan of the show, Gilrain G, and go check out their Twitter also. Awesome art, but their conversation about the pronunciation of everyone's favorite Glycon Guardian, as I've been calling it, Catabasis. Apparently, I've learned that the other popular pronunciation is Catabases, which I hadn't really heard, but we're about to. Upon looking it up, at least the Greek, like the Greek epic, it's Catabasis.
Oh wow.
Catabasis is the actual pronunciation we figured out in some back and forth on Twitter. So yeah, shout out to you, buddy. that was fun. And then shout out to Pagan Sparrow Racing Club, my one and only clan, the now rebranded, formerly H2O. So it's not like I joined a new clan, guys. I swear. We had a real fun raid this past week on Thursday, and we got a new member. We took them through their first raid. I think this Guardian was like only a couple days risen, and they did really well. So yeah, Ned, shout out to you too, buddy. But yeah, shout out to Zekin and all the guys on the raid team who we ran with, and and Oz, who gave me her spot because she wasn't feeling well. Thank you, and I hope you're feeling better. So yeah, those are my shout outs for this week. And so with that, everyone, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Stay hydrated, stay temperate. Whether you need a jacket or some air conditioning, just to do what you gotta. And we'll see you next time. Be safe. It's still a wild and crazy world out there, I think, for everyone, but especially certain parts of the world right now that are still in conflict. So, yes, be safe, everyone. We want to see you here next time. With that, bye-bye.
Doodles. That's off, Guardians. That's it for this week's discussion. Have any questions or comments about this episode? You can reach out to us on Twitter @SpinfoilTheory or write us an email at spinfoiltheory@gmail.com. If you'd like to read our show notes, check out articles, listen to past episodes, and more, be sure to pay us a visit over at our website, spinfoiltheory.com.
The Lore Network.